Samantha Caldwell never thought she would become that woman, pregnant, heartbroken, and on the brink of divorce. Yet here she was, staring at scandalous photos on social media. Her husband's mistress, Olivia Mercer, proudly flaunting a diamond ring worth more than most people's homes. As Samantha's unborn child stirred in her belly, fury replaced the numb shock. Her husband, Nathan Caldwell, a millionaire entrepreneur, had dared to shower Olivia with lavish gifts while neglecting his pregnant wife. Enough was enough. Determined to protect her future and her child, Samantha set her sights on one goal: to walk away from Nathan's deceit and reclaim her life. Samantha Caldwell used to love the mornings, sipping her coffee, enjoying the sunlight streaming through the windows of her elegant townhouse in Chicago. She had once believed she and Nathan shared a life built on loyalty and common dreams. A family, thriving careers, the promise of a stable future. But recently, the sense of security she cherished had started to unravel. It began with late-night business dinners Nathan claimed were critical, followed by a suspicious perfume lingering on his suits, fragrances Samantha didn't recognize. Then came unexplained charges on their credit card bills at upscale boutiques she'd never heard of. Though pregnant and often battling morning sickness, Samantha's instincts sharpened with worry. She was no fool. At 31, she'd been around the corporate world enough to recognize the red flags. Her mother, Diane Holloway, once told her, "If a man changes his routines without reason, be watchful." Samantha had tried to brush aside the warnings, telling herself that Nathan was simply working extra hard to prepare for the baby's arrival. But the anxiety refused to fade. It crept into her mind at midnight, forcing her awake. One drizzly Wednesday, Samantha pushed aside her half-eaten breakfast. The baby kicked gently. She placed a hand on her belly and breathed through a wave of nausea. The ring on her finger, a modest diamond Nathan had bought after his first big pay bump, suddenly felt heavy. She remembered how he'd promised a grand upgrade someday when they reached a certain level of financial success. She had laughed, saying she didn't need extravagance. "All I want," she declared, "is a happy marriage and a loving family." Now, that promise felt hollow. Later that morning, Samantha attended her monthly prenatal checkup with Dr. Evelyn Marks at the Lakeshore Women's Clinic. Everything seemed normal for a second trimester pregnancy. Still, Dr. Marks commented on Samantha's elevated stress levels. "Try to relax," the doctor advised, gently pressing the ultrasound probe against Samantha's stomach. "Stress hormones can affect the baby's development." Samantha nodded, tears pricking her eyes. She realized she needed clarity, one way or another. Once home, she sank onto the living room sofa. Their cat, a smoky gray Persian named Theo, hopped onto her lap. Stroking Theo's fur, she mulled over the strange tension that had gripped her household for weeks. Nathan came home late most nights, reeking of an unfamiliar scent, half-heartedly murmuring excuses. She suspected an affair but had no concrete proof, only illusions of guilt that gnawed at her. But beneath the worry simmered anger. If Nathan had truly betrayed her, how dare he do it while she was expecting their child? It was a violation, not just of marital vows, but of everything Samantha believed family should be. A knock at the door startled her from her thoughts. Their housekeeper, Rosa Velasquez, poked her head in. "Sorry to bother you, Mrs. Caldwell. A delivery arrived. Looks like flowers." Samantha's heart leapt with a glimmer of hope. Maybe Nathan had sent them as an apology, a romantic gesture. She hurried to the foyer, only to discover an elaborate bouquet of red roses. The card read, "You take my breath away. Always M." The initial clearly wasn't N for Nathan. This was from someone else to someone else. Had there been a mix-up with deliveries? Confused, Samantha rechecked the address label. Mr. Nathan Caldwell, Northridge Drive. It was correct. The card, however, was not addressed to Samantha. It was addressed to Olivia Mercer. She felt her stomach twist. Red roses from her own husband to another woman, or from some unknown admirer to the mistress? The details were muddled, but the message was clear. Olivia was in the picture. Samantha stood in the foyer, numb. Just then her phone buzzed. It was a text from Nathan. "Working late, don't wait up." That was it. No explanation. No apology for the day's confusion. Fury and heartbreak collided in Samantha's chest. She clenched her fists around the bouquet. Something had to give. She would no longer bury her head in the sand, pretending her marriage was fine. Truth beckoned. however ugly it might be. That evening, Samantha paced the living room, replaying every odd scenario in her head over the past month. The anomalies had been stacking up. A new iPhone she discovered on Nathan's nightstand, which he claimed was a work phone, but whisked away whenever she entered the room. Lingerie receipts she found in his car. Lingerie that certainly wasn't her size. A hotel key card that suspiciously fell out of his pocket one morning. She had confronted him then, but he insisted it belonged to a colleague who needed help with a big conference event. She wanted to believe him. Truly. She hadn't married Nathan Caldwell with the intent of becoming a cynic. Years ago, they met at a charity function for the Chicago Children's Cancer Foundation, and he had been so kind, so supportive. She could still recall him standing on stage, passionately speaking about raising funds for children with cancer and how that instantly melted her heart. He exuded sincerity and ambition. Samantha, an events coordinator at the time, had fallen head over heels. Their relationship blossomed quickly. They got married, surrounded by family and friends, cheering them on. She imagined a future brimming with success and children running around their suburban lawn. For a while, that dream felt real. But life had taken a turn. Nathan's businesses flourished and the money came pouring in. He was suddenly a high-powered investor in Chicago's luxury real estate circles, dining with moguls and traveling for deals. Initially, Samantha was thrilled. His success meant more security for their growing family. Yet she saw how wealth changed Nathan's priorities. He became restless, always aiming to escalate his status. He started hosting lavish parties, surrounding himself with socialites eager to be impressed by his luxurious lifestyle. One day, Samantha recalled, they had a fight about a yacht party. She was newly pregnant and felt seasick just thinking about it. "You promised to be there," he complained, ignoring her pleas that she couldn't handle waves and loud music. When she stood her ground, he stormed off and left her to fend for herself. For herself, making her question if his concern for her and the baby was genuine or simply for show. Now, with the rose bouquet fiasco, Samantha's doubt crystallized. She grew convinced Nathan was having an affair. The question was how long it had been going on and whether he'd come clean if pressed. Summoning her courage, she dialed the private investigator recommended by her friend, Rachel Carter. Rachel had once discovered her own husband's affair through a PI named Mark Jennings, who provided photographic and financial proof. Samantha had never envisioned hiring someone to spy on her spouse, but she felt she had no other choice. "Hello, this is Jennings," a composed male voice answered. Samantha hesitated, her heart pounding. "Hi, my name is Samantha Caldwell. I was referred by Rachel Carter. I suspect my husband might be unfaithful, and I need confirmation." They set up a meeting at Jennings' discreet office on Michigan Avenue. After the call, Samantha sank into the couch, a wave of apprehension washing over her. She felt guilty. Investigating her own husband felt like a betrayal of trust. But then again, if he was betraying her while she carried his child, did he truly deserve her devotion? Samantha's appointment with Mark Jennings came the next day. She traveled into downtown Chicago, a city that both invigorated and intimidated her with its towering skyscrapers and relentless energy. She had to pause mid-commute when her baby decided to deliver a few sharp kicks, gentle reminders that she couldn't remain in denial. This wasn't just her fight. She was fighting for her child's future, too. Jennings' office was on the 10th floor of a modest building. Inside, she found a neatly arranged space. A man in his late 40s with salt and pepper hair greeted her politely. "Mrs. Caldwell, come in." He offered her a seat in a small conference room. After exchanging niceties, Samantha explained everything: the suspicious phone, the unaccounted-for charges, and especially the roses addressed to Olivia Mercer. Jennings scribbled notes in a leather-bound notebook, occasionally adjusting his reading glasses. "I'll need your husband's schedule, details on his vehicles, known associates, and any social media handles," Jennings said matter-of-factly. Samantha slid over a file containing Nathan's general routine, recent bank statements, and phone records. "Whatever it takes," she said, trembling slightly. "I just need to know the truth." Jennings nodded. "We'll begin surveillance immediately. If I find evidence of an affair, I can compile it into a report. Should you decide to proceed legally, this evidence may help." Samantha clenched her fists. "I'm not sure if I'll go that far, but I can't stay in the dark anymore. That night, she returned home to find Nathan in a strangely chipper mood. His suit jacket was tossed over a chair, his tie loosened. He greeted her with a kiss on the cheek. "Hey, honey, how was your day?" His warmth felt forced, like an actor performing a role. Her pregnancy glow might have masked her turmoil, but inside, she was boiling, especially when she noticed a fresh whiff of perfume clinging to his shirt. Samantha mustered a smile, though her pulse raced. "Tiring," she replied. "I'm not feeling too well." She prayed he wouldn't see through her facade. She doubted he suspected she had hired a detective. Nathan seemed too self-absorbed to imagine she'd fight back. Over dinner, takeout from their favorite Thai place, Nathan spoke animatedly about an upcoming business trip to Miami. He emphasized how crucial it was for sealing the biggest deal of his life. Samantha played along, but her mind churned with suspicion. Was Olivia going with him? Were they planning a secret getaway? Her stomach twisted in knots. She could barely touch her food. 2 days later, Jennings called. "Mrs. Caldwell, I have something for you. I'll email you a file tonight." Samantha's throat tightened. She waited with dread until she saw the email notification ping on her phone. Opening it, she found a series of photos. The first showed Nathan at a fancy downtown Chicago restaurant, Elon, smiling across the table at an attractive blonde woman. Samantha scrolled through more images, him placing a hand on the woman's lower back, them entering a hotel together, arms linked. The timestamp read exactly the date and hour he told Samantha he was in a business meeting. Her stomach lurched. She recognized the woman, not personally but from online gossip circles that occasionally featured real estate bigwigs and their glamorous companions. Olivia Mercer, a socialite rumored to have multiple wealthy boyfriends. Samantha gazed at the final photo. Olivia's ring finger sported a large diamond, and Nathan was gently kissing her hand in front of the hotel's entrance. Samantha's heart pounded with betrayal and fury. She might have suspected it, but seeing proof confirmed the nightmare. She sat there, tears slipping down her cheeks, whispering, "So it's true." Her mind fogged over, but her baby's gentle kick snapped her back to reality. She wasn't alone in this. She had to protect her child from the lies. She spent the next hour sobbing into a pillow, her world collapsing. Then a steely resolve took hold. She wouldn't let Nathan's infidelity define her future. If Olivia Mercer wanted to brag about her stolen diamond ring, she could. But Samantha wouldn't stand for it anymore. She would not be humiliated or cast aside. She deserved better, and so did her unborn child. A week slipped by in a blur of tears and consultations with Jennings about how best to proceed. If Samantha decided to divorce Nathan, she knew it wouldn't be easy. At times, she felt dizzy from it all. The betrayal, the pregnancy, the swirling thoughts of Rosemouth. What if I'd been more attentive? Could I have prevented this somehow? She vacillated between heartbreak and anger, but beneath it all lay a simmering determination. She would not let Nathan or Olivia trample her dignity. On a chilly Saturday morning, Samantha was browsing her phone when a message popped up from Rachel Carter. "Samantha, you won't believe Olivia's post on Instagram. I'm DMing you the link." Heart racing, Samantha opened it. There, in a curated flurry of glitz, Olivia Mercer showcased a massive diamond ring on her left hand. The caption read, "When your man knows how to spoil you, diamonds are a girl's best friend, blessed." Samantha felt the blood drain from her face. The background was the lobby of the Astoria, a 5-star hotel in the heart of downtown Chicago. She recognized the marble columns from Jennings' photos. The ring was enormous, far larger than the ring on Samantha's own finger. Immediately, her phone started lighting up with messages from acquaintances and even distant relatives. "Isn't that Nathan's rumored mistress? So sorry you have to see this. Are you okay? You need to leave him." Her hand trembled as she scrolled through the comments on Olivia's post. Many strangers congratulated her. Others gossiped about which wealthy man had footed the bill. Some even speculated about Nathan Caldwell, referencing rumored sightings. Olivia never directly named him. But the subtext was clear to anyone in the know. The smugness radiated from every photo. Fury burned in Samantha's chest. Her cheeks flushed hot with embarrassment. How dare Olivia flaunt this ill-gotten prize, especially when Samantha was pregnant with Nathan's child? The affair was vile enough, but to boast publicly about the diamond ring? It was a brazen attempt to dethrone Samantha as Nathan's wife. She fought back tears, refusing to let Olivia see her crumble. Later that night, she confronted Nathan in their living room. He had just returned from work, suspiciously smelling of champagne. Samantha stood, arms folded, phone in hand. "Care to explain this?" She thrust the screen toward him, showing Olivia's Instagram post. Nathan froze. His face paled. "Samantha, it's not. She's exaggerating. I didn't buy her that ring," he stammered, though the guilt was obvious. "You expect me to believe that?" Her glare was ice. Adrenaline surged through her. "I have proof you've been seeing her. Stop denying it." He swallowed hard. I made a mistake," he began, stumbling over his words. "It just happened once. Twice. I mean, it wasn't supposed to go this far." Samantha's voice trembled with rage. "You have a pregnant wife at home, and you're giving diamonds to another woman?" Her hands clenched into fists. "How far did you plan to take it, Nathan?" He ran a hand through his hair, desperation flashing in his eyes. "Samantha, the affair, it was a mistake. But it doesn't have to end us. She's nobody. Just a fling. I love you." His voice cracked. A bitter laugh escaped Samantha's lips. "Then why is she acting like she's engaged to you? Why are you so absent from our life? Why are you never there for my doctor's appointments or to talk about the baby's future?" Nathan tried to approach her, hands outstretched, but she stepped back. "Don't touch me," she hissed, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I can't believe you. I can't even look at you." Her body shook with exhaustion and fury. "I'm done playing the good wife while you flaunt your cheating." He reached for her again, but she sidestepped him. Her voice trembled, but it was firm. "If you won't leave, I will. But mark my words, you're going to regret what you've done. Because you're not just losing me, you're losing the family we planned." She stormed into the bedroom, slammed the door, and locked it, chest heaving. Outside, she heard Nathan's muffled pleas, but she covered her ears, refusing to let him manipulate her again. Inside her womb, the baby stirred, perhaps sensing her turmoil. She gently placed a hand over her belly, vowing she'd protect her child from this toxic environment. In the darkness, her tears ran hot. She was terrified and furious, but resolute. The mistress could keep her diamond ring. Samantha would keep her pride and build a new future without Nathan Caldwell, no matter how painful that journey might be. Days passed in a haze of avoidance. Nathan vacated the house early in the mornings and returned after midnight, presumably staying with Olivia or hiding in some luxury hotel. Samantha no longer cared enough to ask. Each day, her resolve to leave solidified, fueled by fresh humiliations. Strangers sent her pitying messages online, whispering about how everyone knew Nathan was carrying on with Olivia. Then came the final blow. She discovered that the ring's rumored price tag was upwards of $150,000. A shocking sum he had never even considered spending on his own wife. During one sleepless night, Samantha rummaged through financial records, and to her horror, she realized the truth. Nathan had drained a sizable portion of their joint savings to buy the ring. Money that was supposed to help with hospital bills, the baby's nursery, and future college funds. Gone. This new betrayal felt like a dagger through her heart. She couldn't sit by while he squandered their child's security on a mistress's jewelry. Early one morning, Samantha made an appointment with a prominent divorce attorney named Vanessa Hartman. Vanessa came highly recommended by Rachel Carter, who had navigated a similarly messy situation. Walking into the sleek law firm on Michigan Avenue, Samantha's heart pounded. She couldn't believe it had come to this. But each step closer felt like reclaiming her agency. Vanessa Hartman was a sharp, polished woman in her mid-30s. She wore a crisp, navy suit and offered Samantha a compassionate smile. "I've reviewed the details you sent," Vanessa began, gesturing for Samantha to sit. "You have ample grounds for a divorce, especially given the financial improprieties and infidelity. The main question is how to proceed to protect your best interests." Samantha took a shaky breath. "I want out, but I also want to ensure my baby and I are cared for. What can we do?" Vanessa leaned forward. "We can file on grounds of adultery and dissipation of marital assets. Given his net worth, you should seek substantial alimony and child support. We'll also freeze certain assets to prevent him from moving funds offshore or hiding them." It felt surreal, discussing a divorce strategy like a business deal. Yet Samantha knew it was necessary. "He'll fight back," she warned. He's proud and manipulative. Vanessa nodded. That's typical. But we have strong evidence. Your private investigator's photos, the bank transfers for that diamond ring. Judges don't look kindly on extravagantly funding a mistress while neglecting a pregnant spouse. I can't promise a smooth road, but your case is solid. Samantha's voice trembled with gratitude and fear. Thank you. Let's do this. Before she left, Vanessa handed her a stack of documents to sign. The formality of each signature made Samantha's stomach twist in knots. She was genuinely terrified of the emotional fallout that would come once Nathan realized how serious she was about divorcing. But her child's future and her own well-being demanded immediate action. That night, she found the courage to tell him. Nathan arrived home unexpectedly at 9 p.m., stumbling slightly, likely from an expensive dinner or post-work drinks. The tension was thick as Samantha confronted him in the foyer, arms crossed. I spoke to a lawyer, she said, voice trembling but determined. I'm filing for divorce. Nathan's face paled. Samantha, wait, don't do anything rash. She lifted a brow. You think this is rash? You've flaunted your affair in public, wasted our joint savings on an obscene ring, and left me to deal with this pregnancy alone. I'm done, Nathan. His eyes flashed with anger, then softened, as though he might attempt the contrite husband act. What about the baby? We can't break up our family. Samantha's lips tightened. You broke it. You chose Olivia over me, over your unborn child. I'll make sure you still have a chance to be in the baby's life, but as for us, we're finished. He lunged to grab her hands, but she pulled back, an instinctive wave of revulsion coursing through her. She had shed too many tears, endured too many humiliations. There was no going back. His eyes narrowed. You're making a huge mistake. Olivia is just... she's nothing, he argued. But the ring and the nightly escapades said otherwise. Samantha felt a sudden calmness in her rage. If she's nothing, then you threw away everything for nothing. She turned her back on him, walking upstairs. She needed to rest, for the baby's sake and for the long legal road ahead. Behind her, she heard Nathan curse, banging a fist on the wall in frustration. But she didn't look back. She silently prayed for strength. She was choosing to walk her own path, free of deception. Even if it meant facing an uncertain future as a single mother, at least she would have her dignity. Final straw. Samantha woke early, her eyes swollen from crying. The baby kept shifting in her womb as if agitated by her stress. She gingerly rose from bed and headed downstairs, half expecting to find Nathan passed out on the sofa. Instead, she discovered he had left at dawn. The house felt cold and empty, reminding her that she was effectively alone now. Still, a faint sense of relief accompanied the loneliness. At least she didn't have to face his excuses or manipulations. For the moment, at least. Feeling drained but resolute, Samantha checked her phone. Dozens of messages flooded in, some from concerned relatives, others from acquaintances who had caught wind of the drama. Her cousin, Andrea Morales, a sharp-witted journalist, had texted, "If you need me to run a story about that vile mistress, just say the word. I'll roast them." Samantha managed a small smile at the offer, though she wasn't sure a public scandal would help her mental health or her baby's well-being. She did, however, accept an invitation from Rachel Carter to meet for coffee. They chose a cozy cafe called Hazel and Bean, a place with pastel decor and sweet pastries, exactly what Samantha needed for comfort. She arrived, noticing Rachel waving from a corner table. Rachel's expression radiated concern as Samantha approached. Once seated, Rachel reached over and squeezed Samantha's hand. "How are you holding up, sweetie?" Samantha tried to smile, but her eyes grew moist. "I've been better," she admitted. "I filed for divorce, Rachel. I never imagined this would be my life, especially not while pregnant. But I had no choice." Rachel nodded sympathetically, her bright red hair framing her warm, empathetic gaze. "I'm proud of you. It's not easy, but it's brave. I've been there. Remember when Michael left me for that paralegal? I thought my world had ended. But trust me, life goes on, and you'll find a new purpose." Samantha's heart lifted slightly. She recalled how devastated Rachel had been, yet she emerged stronger, eventually meeting someone who valued her deeply. "I just worry about raising this baby alone," Samantha confessed, stirring her herbal tea. "I envisioned a family, 2 parents in one home. Now everything is shattered." Rachel leaned forward. "Listen, A single-parent home filled with love and stability is better than a two-parent home plagued by deceit and fighting. You'll give your child all the love and care needed, and you'll have help. I'm here. Your family's here. You're not alone. Emotions welled up, but Samantha nodded gratefully. They talked about the next steps in divorce proceedings, about how Samantha could gather emotional support. Rachel even recommended a prenatal yoga class that had helped her friend manage stress during a high-tension pregnancy. As they finished their drinks, Samantha felt a surge of resolve. She was not powerless. She had allies, a supportive family, and enough resources to protect herself and the baby from Nathan's worst. That resolve was tested later that afternoon. Samantha received an unexpected call from an unknown number. She picked up, only to hear a smug female voice. "Hello, Samantha. It's Olivia Mercer." Samantha's stomach clenched. She gripped the phone, glancing around her living room as if Olivia might pop out of a closet. "What do you want?" Samantha asked, her tone icy. "I'm calling to clarify some things," Olivia said, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. "Nathan told me you're divorcing him. I just wanted to make sure you understand that he and I are going to be together, no matter what." Samantha bristled. It took every ounce of self-control not to unleash a torrent of insults. "It's none of my concern who he chooses, Olivia," she said coolly. "I filed for divorce because he's a cheating liar. Congratulations on inheriting that problem." Olivia laughed softly. "Oh, I'm not worried. He's signing over certain assets to me to ensure I'm comfortable. But you're pregnant and left in the dust. That can't feel good." A wave of righteous anger coursed through Samantha. "You're deluded if you think I'll be the one left empty-handed. My lawyer is already on it, and trust me, the court won't look kindly on a man who abandons his pregnant wife to splurge on a mistress." Silence hummed over the line. When Olivia spoke again, the saccharine tone was gone. "Nathan owes me, Samantha. If you push too hard for his money, you'll make an enemy of me, and I can be very persuasive, especially with the media." Samantha's heart pounded. She took a deep breath. "You're threatening me because you want to protect your ill-gotten finances? Good luck with that. I'm not scared of you. The truth is on my side, and I have the receipts to prove it." Olivia hissed. "Fine, do what you must. Just remember, I won't let you or anyone else ruin what Nathan and I have." She hung up, leaving Samantha's ears ringing with the menacing vow. Samantha stood frozen, phone in hand, a swirl of fury and defiance fueling her. She whispered to herself, "She's underestimating me." If Olivia Mercer thought she could bully a pregnant woman into submission, she was in for a rude awakening. Samantha had endured enough heartbreak. Now she would show them both that she wasn't someone to be trifled with. The day of the preliminary divorce hearing dawned under a gray sky, spitting cold rain. Samantha braced herself for the event, dressing in a simple black maternity dress that flattered her growing belly. Anxiety fluttered through her stomach. This was her first time stepping into a courtroom for something so personal. But she reminded herself, this step was crucial for reclaiming her life and securing her child's future. Vanessa Hartman met her at the courthouse entrance, providing a steady presence. "We have enough evidence to push for a favorable settlement, so don't worry," she assured Samantha. "Stay calm, answer honestly if addressed, and let me handle the rest." Samantha nodded, swallowing her nerves as they walked into the corridor. She spotted Nathan, flanked by his lawyer, a tall, stern-faced man named Gerald Stark. She also noticed Olivia Mercer lurking a few steps behind, draped in an ostentatious fur coat despite the mild weather. When their eyes met, Olivia gave her a smug half-smile, wiggling her diamond-ringed fingers. Samantha turned away, refusing to play into the mistress's taunts. In the small hearing room, both parties sat at opposing tables. The judge, an older woman with sharp eyes, called the session to order. Vanessa presented a concise summary of Samantha's complaints: infidelity, dissipation of marital assets, emotional distress, the need for child support. She also argued that Samantha should retain the marital home as it provided stability for the impending baby. Gerald Stark rebutted, downplaying Nathan's affair. He labeled it a personal indiscretion that bore little relevance to the financial aspects. He claimed that the diamond ring purchase was Nathan's personal expenditure, separate from marital funds. He insisted that Samantha's demands for alimony and child support were exorbitant, given that she came from an upper-middle-class background and had potential earning power as an event planner. Samantha's anger flared, but she kept her composure, remembering Vanessa's advice. When she was called to speak, she explained, voice trembling, that she had left full-time work at Nathan's request to focus on the pregnancy. She had done so assuming they were a team, only to discover he was funneling money into grandiose gifts for a mistress. She reiterated her concerns about the baby's well-being. "I will not allow my child's financial security to be jeopardized by my husband's extravagant spending." On another woman, Samantha concluded, her eyes bright with unshed tears. Nathan was called to speak next. He looked uncharacteristically haggard, dark circles etched under his eyes. "I made mistakes," he admitted, shifting uncomfortably. "But I still love my wife. I'd like to work things out." His contrite tone grated on Samantha. Just days ago he'd been partying with Olivia. Now he was claiming regret. She suspected it was a ploy to reduce the divorce settlement. He then argued that the ring's payment came from his personal investment gains. "It wasn't from our joint account," he insisted. "I have the statements to prove it." But Vanessa was quick to highlight large, unexplained withdrawals that preceded the ring's purchase. The judge listened intently, occasionally glancing at the documents each lawyer submitted. When the hearing concluded, the judge set another date for further proceedings, instructing both sides to gather more evidence of asset distribution. In the interim, the judge ruled that Nathan must continue paying the mortgage on the marital home, as Samantha needed stability for her pregnancy. She also set a temporary support order so Samantha could manage living expenses. Nathan's financial obligations started that very week. Outside the courtroom, Olivia wasted no time. She sauntered up to Samantha, flipping her glossy hair. "How does it feel to cling to him like this, accepting his money after you tossed him out?" Samantha blinked, momentarily stunned. "I'm not clinging." The court recognized that a pregnant woman deserves financial support from the man who helped create this baby. It's called responsibility. She turned to walk away, but Olivia grabbed her arm. "Let go of me," Samantha hissed, yanking free. Some passers-by turned to watch the commotion. Olivia's voice turned venomous. "Nathan is mine now. The only reason he's playing the remorseful husband card is to save face in court. Once this is over, he'll be free, and you'll be left with your pity money." Samantha's blood boiled, but before she could respond, Rachel Carter appeared from behind, stepping between them. "If I were you," Rachel told Olivia icily, "I'd worry less about harassing a pregnant woman, and more about how quickly your sugar daddy might dump you if the law clamps down on his finances." Olivia scowled, eyes darting to Nathan, who stood by the exit, pinned under Gerald Stark's stern talk. Olivia stomped away without another word. Samantha felt her heart pounding, tears close to the surface, but she steadied herself, grateful for Rachel's timely intervention. "Thank you," she breathed. Rachel patted her shoulder. "That woman has some nerve. Don't let her get to you. You're doing what's right for you and the baby." Samantha exhaled, nodding. The first legal skirmish was over, but the war was far from finished. Still, she felt a rush of empowerment. The judge's acknowledgement of her rights, Rachel's unwavering friendship, and the baby's resolute kicks in her belly reminded her she was no victim. She was fighting for her future, and she was determined to win. In the days following the preliminary hearing, tension escalated in the Caldwell household. Nathan, still technically co-owner of their home, made surprise visits to gather belongings. Each time the encounters erupted into arguments. Sometimes he insisted he'd changed and wanted her back. Other times, he accused her of greed and spite. His mercurial behavior left Samantha on edge. One Saturday morning, as Samantha sorted baby clothes in the nursery, she heard the front door bang open. Nathan's voice echoed down the hall. She tensed. He hadn't given any notice of coming by. Bracing herself, she walked into the living room, to find him rummaging through drawers. "What are you doing?" she demanded, arms crossed over her pregnant belly. He glanced up, face flushed. "I'm looking for some paperwork. I have every right to be here." Samantha's pulse quickened, but she willed herself to remain calm. "I told you to text or call before coming. This stress isn't good for me or the baby." Nathan sneered. "Since when do you care about my stress? You're the one who's milking the courts for every dollar." Samantha bristled. I'm not milking anything, I'm fighting for what's fair for our child. If you don't want to support me, at least support your baby." He scoffed, slamming a drawer shut. "That child is mine too. Once it's born, I'll do my part, but I'm not gonna let you bankrupt me." Samantha's voice trembled with rage. "If you're so worried about finances, maybe you shouldn't have dropped a fortune on Olivia's ring." Nathan's expression darkened at the mention of Olivia. "She's different. She appreciates me." He paused, running a frustrated hand through his hair. "But I never wanted it to go this far. I never wanted to lose you." A bitter laugh escaped Samantha. "Then you shouldn't have cheated." She motioned toward the door. "Just go, Nathan." He hesitated, glancing around the living room, the place where they once cuddled to watch movies, celebrated birthdays and anniversaries. A flicker of regret crossed his features, just for a fleeting moment. Samantha felt an ache for the man she once loved, the man who might have been a good father. But that man had become a stranger. Nathan sighed. "You know, this is all your fault, too." Samantha's breath caught in her throat. "You became so focused on the baby, you forgot about me." The words cut deep. A wave of nausea hit her, part pregnancy-related, part emotional shock. She steadied herself against the couch. "I'm pregnant with your child," she retorted, her voice shaky. "If you can't handle your wife focusing on a baby, that says more about you than me." Without waiting for his reply, she turned and walked away, retreating to the nursery. Behind her, she heard him curse, rummage a bit more, then storm out. When the front door slammed, Samantha finally allowed herself to weep. It wasn't just heartbreak. It was the betrayal, the blame-shifting, the cruel notion that she was somehow at fault for devoting attention to the baby they both agreed to have. She sank into the rocking chair, tears dripping onto the soft pink blanket she'd folded for her daughter. She had recently learned the baby was a girl during an ultrasound. She whispered, "I'm sorry you have to feel all this, but I promise I'll keep you safe." Gently stroking her belly, she closed her eyes and forced her breathing to slow. The house felt emptier than ever. In that moment, she resolved to accelerate the divorce proceedings if possible. She couldn't keep confronting him in this toxic cycle of blame. The child deserved a peaceful environment, and every day that passed with Nathan's looming presence threatened that peace. The news spreads. Word spread quickly that the divorce between Nathan and Samantha Caldwell was turning ugly. Gossip columns relished the story. The pregnant wife scorned, the mistress who boasted a diamond ring. Even tabloids like the Chicago Daily Star ran headlines, "Millionaire mogul affair sparks nasty divorce, pregnant wife takes him to court." For Samantha, the exposure felt invasive. She only left the house for doctor's appointments, legal meetings, occasionally seeing supportive friends like Rachel Hunt. When she did, curious onlookers and reporters tried to snap photos. Samantha wore oversized sunglasses and scarves, attempting to conceal her identity. But the stress mounted. One afternoon, she received a call from her cousin, Andrea Morales, who sounded breathless. "Samantha, check the gossip sites. Olivia Mercer is publicly airing her grievances against you. She gave some interview full of lies." Heart-pounding, Samantha opened her laptop. Sure enough, on an entertainment website, she found an article titled, "Olivia Mercer Speaks Her Truth. The Wife Bullied Me from Day One." In it, Olivia painted herself as a misunderstood lover who had fallen in love with Nathan after his wife neglected him. She claimed Samantha had threatened and harassed her. She alleged that Nathan bought her gifts out of fear, worried that Samantha would smear his reputation. And then, Olivia even hinted that Samantha's pregnancy was planned to trap Nathan, a statement so vile that Samantha almost threw her laptop in rage. She called Rachel, her voice shaking. "Can you believe the nerve of this woman? She's lying to the press, acting like she's the victim?" Rachel tried to reassure her. "It's a tactic, Samantha. She's trying to sway public opinion, maybe hoping it helps Nathan's side in court. Don't stoop to her level. Keep building a strong legal case." Later that day, Samantha met with Vanessa Hartman to discuss the recent developments. Vanessa sighed upon hearing Olivia's claims. "We can't control the media, but we can control the narrative in court. I advise you not to respond publicly. Let Olivia rant. The real battle is in the judge's chamber." Samantha nodded warily. "It's just exhausting to see her tarnish my name. I'm pregnant. I don't need this stress." Vanessa gave her a sympathetic look. I understand. Let's shift focus to finalizing the financial records. They compiled more documents highlighting suspicious transfers from Nathan's business accounts to personal accounts, hints that he might be hiding money from. Meanwhile, Jennings, the private investigator, uncovered something even more damning. Olivia had a history of latching on to wealthy men and leaving once their funds dried up. He provided statements from previous boyfriends, describing how Olivia manipulated them into buying expensive gifts before abruptly vanishing. Armed with this intel, Samantha felt a renewed determination. If Olivia planned to drag her name through the mud, Samantha would respond by unveiling the mistress's manipulative track record in court. Samantha herself intended to remain above the public fray, refusing to give tabloids an inflammatory quote. Despite the chaos, she found solace in small joys. Folding tiny onesies, picking out pastel colors for the nursery walls, even sharing baby name ideas with Rachel. She refused to let Olivia's vendetta overshadow the excitement of welcoming a new life. Yes, this pregnancy was marred by heartbreak and stress, but it was also a beacon of hope for Samantha, a reminder that love and innocence still existed. She did worry about how the negative press might affect her daughter in the future. Children sometimes learn of their parents' conflicts. But Samantha resolved that one day, she'd explain gently why she had to stand up for herself and her child. She'd emphasize that no one should remain in a marriage built on betrayal and manipulation. The next court date loomed, promising more conflict. Still, Samantha clung to the belief that truth would prevail. Olivia could flaunt her diamond ring and spin her sob story, but the legal system wouldn't be swayed by gossip columns. For the sake of her baby, Samantha was determined to see justice served, no matter how loudly the mistress fought back. The second major court date arrived on a crisp morning. Samantha wore a tailored navy maternity dress that felt empowering. She was nearly 7 months pregnant now, her belly unmistakable. The baby was active, reminding her at every turn that she had a precious life depending on her strength. Vanessa Hartman walked by her side as they entered the courthouse. Just before stepping into the courtroom, Samantha caught sight of Nathan and Olivia. The mistress had the audacity to show up again, this time wearing a tight designer dress, flaunting the enormous diamond ring. Samantha's stomach churned, but she lifted her chin, refusing to cower. Inside the courtroom, once seated, the judge wasted no time. We're here to address the financial disclosures, marital asset division, and the legitimacy of certain expenditures in light of Mrs. Caldwell's pregnancy and Mr. Caldwell's admitted infidelity. Vanessa presented evidence from the jewelry store subpoena. It conclusively showed that $75,000 came from the Caldwells' joint account, funds originally earmarked for the baby's expenses. Although the ring had cost more, the store's records were enough to prove that part of the purchase used marital resources. Samantha's fury flared anew, imagining how many baby essentials that $75,000 could have covered. Gerald Stark tried to deflect, arguing that Nathan had to be continued. Gerald Stark argued that Nathan had replenished the account with his personal investments, but Vanessa countered sharply. The deposit Nathan made arrived after Samantha filed for divorce. Possibly an attempt to mask the wrongdoing, the judge frowned, demanding more clarity from Nathan. As Nathan fumbled through explanations, Olivia, seated behind the defense table, kept tossing haughty looks at Samantha. Several times, the judge had to request decorum. The tension crackled in the air. Samantha takes the stand. When it was Samantha's turn to speak, she described the stress she endured. She spoke about how, at a crucial time in her pregnancy, she had to navigate discovering her husband's affair, Olivia's public taunts, financial insecurity. She explained how the diverted funds threatened her prenatal care. Her voice caught as she recounted the emotional pain, but she pressed on, determined to show the court that she wasn't overreaching. She merely wanted justice for her unborn child and herself. The judge's decision. Finally, the judge addressed Nathan. Mr. Caldwell, the evidence suggests you used joint funds for a personal affair. You also left your pregnant wife with limited support while you maintained a second relationship. This court must consider the unborn child's interests as paramount. I am inclined to grant Mrs. Caldwell a significant portion of the marital assets to ensure the child's welfare. Gerald Stark interjected, trying to lessen the blow. But the judge was firm. She scheduled a final hearing to finalize the property division and child support arrangements. Unless there's a stark turnaround in evidence, I see no reason to alter this course. Victory for Samantha. Defeat for Olivia. Samantha's spirit soared. Olivia, on the other hand, looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. She shot daggers at Samantha, no doubt seething that her gravy train might be curtailed. Nathan sank in his chair, shoulders slumped, as reality began to settle upon him. Outside the courtroom, the press waited. Vanessa whisked Samantha past them, offering a quick, no comment. But a few reporters shouted questions, peppering them with rumors about Olivia's meltdown inside. As Samantha glanced back, she saw Nathan and Olivia behind them, locked in what appeared to be a heated argument. She overheard Olivia hiss, "I won't be left with nothing," before the crowd closed in around them. On the street. By the time Samantha and Vanessa reached the sidewalk, her heart was pounding. "We're in a good position," Vanessa said, gently guiding her away from the media scrum. "Stay strong. The next hearing should seal the settlement." Samantha exhaled shakily, pressing a hand to her belly. The baby kicked, as if cheering her on. Samantha allowed herself a small smile. For all the heartbreak, the legal battles, and the public humiliation, she was on the cusp of securing a stable future for herself and her daughter. She was now 8 months pregnant, exhausted from the endless legal wrangling and media scrutiny that had plagued her for weeks. The second major hearing had ended with the judge warning Nathan that misusing joint funds for a mistress would not go unpunished. Now, as she waited for the final court date, she felt both anxious and oddly relieved that an end was in sight. Her divorce attorney, Vanessa Hartman, kept her informed about every development, from Nathan's attempts to shift money around to the documents needed to finalize the settlement. Samantha tried to focus on her impending motherhood, but she battled late-night doubts. Each time the baby shifted or kicked, a wave of protectiveness surged in her. This child deserved stability, something her current circumstances lacked. She had little appetite for the tabloids' daily rants about the pregnant wife, scorned, the diamond-flaunting mistress. She simply wanted to leave the betrayal behind. Her friend Rachel Carter often dropped by with groceries or prepared meals, determined to ease the burden. One afternoon, Rachel arrived cradling a small box wrapped in pastel ribbon. Inside was a handmade baby blanket, embroidered with the name Samantha had chosen weeks earlier. Sophie Caldwell. Tears burned her eyes. Seeing her daughter's name in delicate pink thread transformed the swirl of anxieties into renewed hope. Rachel squeezed her hand. A single-parent home can be a sanctuary if it's filled with love and honesty. Samantha clung to those words, reminding herself her strength would guide Sophie into a bright future. Nathan's world begins to crumble. Meanwhile, rumors flew that Nathan was under severe financial strain, caught between legal obligations and a mistress demanding more gifts to maintain her lavish lifestyle. Samantha learned from their private investigator that Olivia Mercer might have threatened to expose even more about Nathan's personal dealings if he failed to keep her satisfied. Though Samantha's sympathies had run dry, she found a grim satisfaction in knowing Nathan's choices were finally catching up to him. The day before the final hearing, Nathan asked to meet. Samantha agreed, but only in a public cafe. He looked disheveled, tie skewed, eyes hollow, hunched over a half-finished cup of coffee. He stirred the drink absently, gaze flickering toward her before he spoke. "I'm ending things with Olivia," he muttered, his voice trembling. "She's toxic. We've been tearing each other apart." Then, he hesitated. "Maybe," he swallowed hard, "maybe we could try again?" Samantha felt it then, that old pain, a flash of it, deep in her chest. But this time, it didn't linger. She shook her head. "There's no going back. We can try to co-parent, but I can't trust you again." Nathan stared at her pregnant belly, tears flickering in his eyes, then quietly nodded. The following morning, Samantha headed to the courthouse under a crisp April sky. She wore a loose-fitting dress that accommodated her bump. Every step reminded her how close she was to meeting Sophie. Rachel and Vanessa supported her as they passed through the media throng, ignoring intrusive questions. Inside, she found Nathan slumped at the defense table, looking resigned. This time, Olivia was conspicuously absent. The final court decision. Once proceedings began, Vanessa methodically presented the evidence. Bank statements showing Nathan's extravagant spending. Testimony confirming he had left Samantha without adequate financial security. Clear proof that he had used shared funds for Olivia's diamond ring. Gerald Stark, Nathan's lawyer, tried to mitigate the damage, but the judge was unmoved. She declared that Samantha was entitled to retain the house and receive a sizable lump sum payment for the stress and hardships endured during pregnancy. Monthly child support would commence the moment Sophie was born. The judge further affirmed joint legal custody, but physical custody would remain primarily with Samantha, ensuring stability for mother and child. A stunned silence followed. Nathan looked toward Samantha, and for a brief moment she saw genuine remorse etched in his face. She managed a small nod. There was no victory in the destruction of their marriage, only the closure she needed to protect herself and Sophie. Freedom at last. Exiting the courthouse, Samantha felt an overwhelming sense of relief. The process had been grueling, but now she could finally breathe. "I'm proud of you," Rachel whispered, as they ducked into a taxi, leaving Nathan behind with his regrets and the media's endless curiosity. In that quiet cab ride home, Samantha placed a hand over her belly, promising Sophie a peaceful life, untainted by betrayal and self-doubt. A new beginning. A few weeks later, Samantha went into labor late one night. Rachel rushed her to the hospital, where she endured hours of contractions before finally meeting her daughter's gaze. In that instant, Sophie blinked up at her under the bright maternity ward lights. Samantha felt a love so fierce it eclipsed the heartbreak she had endured. Nathan's first visit. Nathan arrived the next day, looking awkward and unsure. Samantha allowed him a brief visit, but as he held Sophie, she reminded him that if he wanted a role in her life, he would have to earn it. Returning home with her newborn, Samantha settled into a new routine. The nursery's pastel colors and the gentle hush of lullabies offered a stark contrast to the turmoil she had faced. She rocked Sophie in her arms, breathing in the baby's sweet scent, and realized this was her true new beginning. A chance to create a home grounded in love, stability, and respect. Whatever storms had raged around her, they now felt distant. The diamond ring, the media frenzy, Olivia's flaunting, they had lost their power to wound her. In their place stood Samantha's unwavering resolve to give Sophie a life brimming with hope, honesty, and a mother's unfaltering devotion. Thank you for joining us. This has been a roller coaster of secrets, betrayal, and hard-won freedom. Samantha's journey shows how life can shatter our expectations in the most painful ways, yet also how the fierce love for an unborn child and the support of trusted allies can pave a way forward. When faced with a mistress flaunting a diamond ring and a once-loving husband turned distant, Samantha chose courage. She filed for divorce to protect her future and her baby's well-being, proving that no shiny trinket compares to self-respect and the promise of a peaceful home. If this dramatic tale resonated with you, please tap that like button to show your support. Share it with friends who enjoy stories of resilience and redemption. And don't forget to subscribe for more real-life drama fiction that inspires and empowers. Your engagement helps us bring you more captivating stories. Thank you for watching.